I don't know whether they're being caught up in the moment, whether they feel as though the punishment should have just been a penalty. But you look at the facts and you look at the law. It's a clear red card. He had to go. It was just before half time. So I think lots of people, especially on social media, are looking and thinking Reece James was dealt a harsh card there. But when you see it, it's blatantly obvious to me that if there wasn't a forward motion, if it ricocheted off his thigh and hit his hand, I might say it was accidental. It was a little bit harsh. But when you see it again, you see that forward motion, the push, because I think he panics.
Right.
It's an easy thing to panic when you're on the line and you're just trying to get some sort of contact on the ball. You're not sure where it's coming off. It's then come off your thigh. It hits your hand. And then he panics and makes that forward motion. So that's what done it for me.
Shaq?
I thought it was a penalty, no question. I thought the red card was a little bit harsh. But I'm with Don in seeing why Anthony Taylor interpreted as he did. For me, I think the ball comes off of Reece James's thigh and onto his arm, so it's unintentional, but the consequence is it keeps the ball out of the net. I think after it hits his arm, the forward motion that Don is describing comes subsequent to the ball being hitting his arm. So I'm siding with Reece James here a little, and I give him the benefit of the doubt.
This is what frustrated Thomas Tuchel, Shaka, after the game, because he said basically, Anthony Taylor, if you saw the VAR, he literally, we're off.
Right.
And he just saw the freeze frame. He said, I would like to have seen him see the whole video to get the context of it.
I understand Thomas Tuchel's position, but I also hear the criticism around how long some of these reviews take. And referees are kind of tasked with reviewing the incidents, keeping the game moving, not keeping players waiting too long. So it's a difficult balancing act for the referees in getting that right. They're not going to please everyone, so you accept that on this occasion it's Thomas Tuchel who's not the happiest. But ultimately, though I don't think it was a red card, I can't say it was that big an error. It's one of those that I see the other side to that same coin.
Gab?
For me, it wasn't a penalty. I think Tuchel's right. He gave it, I suppose, within the context of the fact that Reece James is making his body bigger, and you get into the unnatural position in the silhouette or whatever else. But for me, what clinches it is the ball. The ball comes off his thigh. It's a ricochet, and in those cases, referees have directives that they're asked to follow. If you only looked at the freeze frame. And I'm not 100% sure that's accurate, but if what Tuchel says is accurate and he only looked at the freeze frame, well, I think that's clearly an incorrect decision. But I will say this, at least we have Anthony Taylor, one of the top referees in England, taking the time to look at it. And then the one other thing, though, Shaka, you can't make excuses. Well, he doesn't have time. He needs to keep the game moving. This is what VAR is there for the big decisions. If you're going to send off a player and give a penalty send off a player in the first half in a game between the two teams that are sitting at the top of the table in the Premier League, I want you to take all the time that you need. This is not a routine call. This is something really important. And I really would hate to think that Taylor felt the need, I better get done with this because otherwise I'll be holding up the game and the fans will know what's going on and VR is taking too long.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.